We've got Mr. Bankole Bernard, who is the Chairman, Association of Airline Training Organization of Nigeria. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the program today. Well,
good morning.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the sector. I can imagine that even yourselves, those who are training professionals, always wonder, oof, to what end would this training be if at the end of the training, persons don't get into the aviation sector in Nigeria, they find themselves internationally. But give us your experience and interpretation of what you think is going on, because many don't want to even think about the worst happening in the aviation sector.
The truth is, Nigerians need to embrace the reality, and that's the truth. The reality on ground is the fact that practically everything in the aviation sector is foreign currency denominated. The only thing that is happening around is that it's being converted to our local currency and we trade on it. As it is, we have shortage of foreign exchange, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about it as a nation now. This is as a result of high volatility of the foreign exchange. And you can see the rates have skyrocketed. At the black market now, we're talking about 710. The question is, the aviation fuel is imported, and it is foreign currency denominated. How on earth are they going to sell at a price that will be suitable for the airline, and the airline in return cannot sell their ticket at the price that will be suitable for the passengers? So the reality we all have to face is the fact that the cost of air ticket is going to go up. We're all going to be affected by it. There's nothing we can do about it. However, the government can always intervene. And I think that's the aspect we need to start looking into.
Yeah, you know,
there's need for government intervention at this particular point in time.
Okay, well, when you say the cost of the ticket is going to go up, many have thought it's gone up already. I hope you're not still saying, look, it's still going to go further up, because whoa.
Oh, trust me, it's still going to go higher. Look at it this way. If $100 gives you $100 change to Naira gives you 610. Now it is 710 to a dollar. It means that it has reduced to the dollar has gained more ground, and you're going to have more Naira chasing fewer dollars. So it's going to be, cost of tickets are going to go higher. That's the truth. Cost of tickets are going to go higher because everyone is going to be affected by this.
Now, listening to your scenario, when you say everything is dollar denominated, you'd have thought that, well, the players in that sector know that and they should be thinking about a way out. But how do we situate when the airline operators said, look, can they be given license to import the product? So how do you situate that? Because that is still going to be dollar denominated since it's based on importation. So shouldn't they have been thinking about what's the way out to make sure we insulate that sector from the vagaries of the dollar denomination of that particular sector?
But that is one man speaking for himself, as far as I'm concerned.
Not for the group?
Look, if you're speaking for the group, are you saying that the AON is going to set up a depot and start to import aviation fuel? It just doesn't make sense. Let's be realistic. The challenge, you are in the business of running an airline, not in the business of importation of aviation fuel. So if you want to diversify, then come out and say to the world that you're diversifying. And I always believe in focusing your core competence, which is moving passengers from point A to point B.
We heard him say that that was the position of the group.
Look, Can you please explain to me what will importation of fuel by a group due to the situation on ground? We're not talking about scarcity. That's not the challenge we have. If they're willing to pay the price that the fuel marketers are asking for, certainly they will have the fuel. So why do you want to go or embark on importation of aviation fuel? It just doesn't make sense.
Well, business.
I think we need to address the real issue here. What is the real issue here? Aviation fuel, the price of aviation fuel has gone up, which has made it impossible for you to sustain the current price of your ticket.
Right.
So if they are allowed to run their business without hindrance or putting into consideration of the price, nobody's going to be talking about importation of aviation fuel.
So the question then is,
the fact here. The problem here is the scarcity of foreign exchange. And because the dollar is not available as such, it has resulted in constant increase in the exchange rate.
So let's speak today, to that. You can land at that point.
As of today, dollar is at 720. We don't know what this week is going to be like.
Right.
And since we do not know what this week is going to be like, it means that the cost of tickets is going to continually go up.
Oh dear. So what happened to that, I mean, the whole meetings we saw in March, all of those agreements that were said to have been reached, you know, with the NMPC, that the National Assembly brokered, clearly that did not yield any fruit, or if it has, we're not seeing the fruits. But sticking to the point you made, and perhaps maybe there's some sort of backward integration if an airline operator wants to then go into, you know, aviation field. But you think the major point is Forex. And I'd like you to explain to Nigerians, and maybe those in authority, because I imagine that everybody should understand this. When you say scarcity of Forex, I saw Emirates' statement as well, speaking to Jet A1, how it is that they even approached, you know, those supplying, saying, let's pay in Naira, and said, this is not possible. It is in dollars. We need you to pay in dollars. What does it mean, this scarcity of foreign exchange? Is it that you approach banks or operators approach banks and banks say, well, we don't have Forex or we can't give you beyond this? Is it that you approach the Bureau de Change and they say, well, we're not allowed to do this? What kind of brick walls are you hitting with Forex?
Maybe Nigerians need to understand this part. And the truth is this. Foreign exchange is another way of the government subsidizing quite a lot of things. Let's state the facts here. When the parallel market is stating something different, or if there's a huge gap between the parallel market and the official rate, what that simply means is that the government invariably is subsidizing by giving you a rate that is not in reality with the economics. So if that happens, it means that the government keeps subsidizing. So if you go to the bank for your PTA and you're buying your PTA at the official rate and you know what the black market rate is, even though the government is giving you just $4,000, it means that the government has subsidized for you as a traveler, invariably, let's face the fact, invariably by giving it to you at the official rate, vis-a-vis the parallel market that is at 720. So there's a huge gap. Now, CBN is coming out to say to us, look, there is scarcity of dollar. It's a situation which we found ourselves as a nation. So what we all need to do is to brainstorm on this and see, how can we get out of it? It is very, very clear. The inflation is high. And if the inflation is high, definitely you're going to have high volatility of the exchange rate, especially for a country like ours that is import denominated. We rely a lot on imported goods, both the aviation fuel, the aircraft parts, the training, everything is practically imported, dollar denominated. So we're going to be heavily affected. The only thing that the government can do further is to see, how do I come to the aid by waiving certain things? Okay, due to what is going on right now, can we defer certain charges we place on these airlines to help the economy stabilize, especially this particular industry? Defer the taxes, defer the landing charges, parking charges. You can defer quite a lot of things just to bring peace to that particular industry and not ground it, because right now, air travel seems to be the safest and the quickest to get around the country. So we cannot afford to ground such industry.
Is a major concern.
It's a major concern. So
exactly.
The government needs to come to the aid of the industry.
I don't know
Not
how many of these
stakeholders.
Just 1 second. Just 1 second, Mr. Bernard. We will speak to not just the aviation industry, but to the people as well, the passengers. You spoke to that. But I'd like you to expatiate a little further on how to rescue the situation. It's gotten bad before, but I don't think it's ever gotten this bad. It's a current report making the rounds now that over the years in this country, 131 airlines have been grounded up until now, before and after NCAA came on board. On the front page of one of the papers this morning, the Guardian newspaper to be exact, says local aviation risks collapse because 38 out of 90 airplanes are the only ones that are active. In fact, one of the airlines is said to be operating below 40% of its capacity. And all of these, if the figures continue to go up, it would mean low patronage of passengers and consequently the collapse of the aviation sector. So how do we reverse those things? You've mentioned some fees that government may need to consider maybe stepping down or reducing for now. How do we safely reduce whatever it is that needs to be taken out so that the aviation sector can at least survive and hopefully eventually thrive?
Thank you very much. Let me take you back to during COVID. During COVID, the airlines were not flying. The government came to their aid. There was an intervention. The intervention helped the airlines to get themselves back on their feet and be able to take care of certain costs that are sacrosanct to their operations. Here we are, that we're being faced with high volatility of the exchange rate. This is something that happens in the life of an economy. And the thing that is responsible for high volatility is when inflation is very high and there's practically no productivity is low, and economic and political instability is all we're experiencing. Then you have high volatility of foreign exchange. But we found ourselves in this situation. The business itself is dollar denominated. Let us have that at the back of our mind. Everything about aviation is dollar denominated. The question now is this: what is the government going to do to rescue this industry? Because if it continues like this, you're going to see the dollar get to 1,000 naira being exchanged for $1, and it means that the cost of your ticket is probably going to triple, and there's nothing you can do about it. The airlines will reduce capacity, and when they reduce capacity, they will only now survive no longer on volume, but on yield. Okay. Because the yield must meet their needs. So the government intervention is all we can ask for at this particular point in time.
Just one more thing. Pardon me, just one more thing, because if you can do this in 60 seconds, that would be lovely. So, as a way to perhaps suggest further solutions, what is wrong with an alliance or a merger of the airlines in the country to survive?
Look, the truth is this. How many players do we have in the industry that were preaching alliance or merger? What are we talking about? We need to come to reality. The thing there is this. How can we, even the ones existing, how can they work together in such a way that once I've purchased my ticket, I can use it on another airline to fly, and we'll have like a central bank that settles this. But the issue at hand goes beyond that. The issue at hand now is a crisis which we've all found ourselves. So even if they merge, it still does not solve it. That's the truth.
All right.
If they merge, it still does not solve it. There's a financial crisis as a result of foreign exchange. And it's only the government that can come to the rescue of the industry. And if the government can rescue the industry at this critical time, then things can get better in the future.
All right. Bernard Bankole, Chairman, Association of Airline Training Organization of Nigeria. Thank you very much indeed for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, back in a moment. We've got some grounds to cover still. Don't go away.